Charmaine, and my guests today are cast members of a mother-daughter experiment to help mend their relationship. And they're here today to talk about Lifetime's new series, Mother-Daughter Experiment, Celebrity Edition. Help me welcome Bad Girls Club Natalie Nunn and her mother, Miss Karen Nunn. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
Now, I want to say the first episode, ladies, I mean, it exploded with a bang. But we're going to get into all of that in just a moment. But I found out that you both are Bay Area natives, and so am I. So I heard y'all my homegirls.
Yes. Bay Area.
Yeah, so y'all from Oakland and I'm from Richmond. And I was like, oh, my God, they homies. I got to talk to my lady. So good. So, Miss Karen, do you currently still live in the Bay Area?
I'm up near the Sacramento area.
Oh, so you are a real true home girl because I'm in Sacramento too.
Yes. Oh, okay.
So awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you. I'm glad to have you both on the show, and we're going to be talking about the mother-daughter experiment, which you could see that you guys are going to be doing some really heavy work. In the very first episode, many people may have seen it already. It exploded once Heidi came into the house, and there was Natalie. And so there's a whole lot of things that we began to see about each person's story. So first, I want to find out from the both of you, why did you decide to do the show?
Well, this is Natalie. I felt like the show was just a good experience for my mom and I. You know, Dr. Debbie is a real doctor, and I felt like, you know, if there's any type of therapy you're going to get and someone's going to really sit there and help you and you can go through all the exercises that they're going to put us through, it wouldn't be any better than an actual show that, you know, the mother-daughter experiment on Lifetime. I knew that it was going to be something that, you know, because I did marriage boot camp, and the exercises were very real and they were very powerful and helpful in my marriage. So I knew it would be a good thing for my mom and I to do as well.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. So, Miss Karen, for you, were you kind of nervous to expose yourself on national television?
Yeah, I was, because it was a really trying time for me. I had just lost my mom, and, you know, I've been dedicated to taking care of her the last 8 years, and I did miss out on a lot of Natalie's career, and I just thought that this would be, you know, something that her and I can do together, and maybe we could, you know, kind of get back on track together and have some fun and some tears.
Because see, Natalie, many of us know you from the Bad Girls Club, and I wanted to kind of go back to the beginning of why did you consider yourself a bad girl?
I was kind of like the bad girl that just went to the beat of her own drums. Like, I did what I wanted to do. I really was. I'm still that way. You know, I am just a very, I would say, not so much like, oh, I'm the baddest bad girl because I like to fight, which a lot of people associate Bad Girls Club with, is fighting and stuff. My whole thing was that I'm just a very strong woman, and I'm just very, like, my way or the highway. And I think that is a bad girl. I think, you know, it's, the title of Bad Girls Club is 7 self-proclaimed bad girls. So I felt, and I've always kind of felt that I was like a bad girl, you know, at heart. I did kind of what I wanted to do. And I made my own, decisions. I, you know, say what I want to say. I speak my mind. A lot of people, you know, bite their tongue, or they turn their head, or they don't want to, you know, they don't want controversy. So they don't want to, like, say what everyone else is already thinking. And I'm that person. I've always been that person. I know if it's going to steer the, I'm going to say it if I have to say it. If I have to get it off my chest, I'm going to say it, you know, like, so I've always kind of been that self-proclaimed bad girl, even in my own eyes. So when I went on the show, I wasn't going on Bad Girls Club like, oh, yeah, I'm the strongest girl in the world, and I'm the best fighter in the world. Like, that's not what I ever really thought a bad girl was. I just always thought, you know, I had to be a strong woman and be who I am and not be ashamed of being, you know, outspoken and stuff. And if that came with someone in the house wanting to fight me, well, I was going to stand up for myself, you know? So that's kind of where this all started.
So for Mama Karen, knowing that you have a feisty daughter, she's going to say what she want to say. She dances to the beat of her own drum. As a mother, how was that for you, knowing you were raising a very independent daughter and she had a voice of her own and a mind of her own? Was that kind of difficult for you to hone in for her as she was growing up?
You know, at times it was. Natalie was always cute, so no matter what she said, we always laughed and thought it was funny and stuff. But you know what? I was a Natalie back in the day, and I know she got those genes from somewhere. It's just as I got older that things started changing in my life, and illnesses arose, and I calmed down some. So, maybe in time it's gotten better, and we'll see, where it goes. But you know what? I kind of admire the things that she does and says, and the way she sticks up for herself.
Okay. Now, many people may not know, Natalie, but you are pretty smart. You attended USC, you played sports. And so, you got some brains there too. You may have a mouth, but you got some brains. And I wanted to know, why did you decide to leave college and pursue a career in entertainment?
No, I didn't leave college. I graduated from USC.
Awesome. Okay.
I finished. I finished. I graduated from USC. I studied communications, and I have a minor in Spanish. I just, after college, I got into the entertainment industry. So my first few years at USC, I played soccer, and then I got hurt, and I then just focused on my education. And after my 4 years, I finished, and then I was already in LA. So I was like, I was a very popular girl at school, and I had a really big personality, and a lot of people were just like, you should be on reality TV. You should be on reality TV. You're so good for TV. And I just kind of was like, maybe I should do a reality show. So I knew people at USC who had been already shows with Bune and Murray, which is The Real World, The Kardashians, and Bad Girls Club. So I was like, well, maybe I'll audition for Real World. So when I met with the production company, they were like, no, we think you're more of a bad girl. Oh, okay. Well, what's that show? It was kind of new, and it was the earlier seasons. I had never watched it before. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll do Bad Girls Club. So I did Bad Girls Club, and I was fresh out of college. I was like, I run LA. I'm a party girl. I'm going to own this. And that was how that all started.
I really find that really amazing because, when I go and I try to research people, there was a bio out there about you. And in the bio, it said that you had left college and you went and pursued a career in entertainment. So thank you for correcting that. So that's where I had actually gotten that from. And so for the both of you, you were able to open up your lives on this particular show. But you, Natalie, and you and Heidi had some type of rift before you guys came into the house, which I know that you guys didn't know. Neither one of you were going to be in the house. How did your I don't want to say rift, but your relationship didn't go too well? I guess something happened on the internet. I guess you said something about her.
Heidi and I have been really, really good friends ever since we did a wee TV show together, which was the Marriage Boot Camp show. And when you're filming the show, we do interviews, and sometimes in interviews they want you to touch on things that we did maybe during that day, earlier that day, an exercise, or when we were in reality, and they might want us to speak on things. And like I've always said, and I own, I'm not always saying I'm right, the things I say, but I do say things that everybody else is thinking. So there was a question in one of my interviews about Heidi and all of the plastic surgery that she has had done in the past. And I made a very, very light comment about it, but that is a very touchy subject for Heidi. And at the time, I never knew Heidi previously. That was the first time working with Heidi, being on a show with Heidi and Spencer. And so I made a very light comment about her having, plastic surgery and a lot of work done. And not knowing Heidi, that was very upsetting to her. So once the show aired and she saw something that I had said about her, she no longer wanted to be my friend. She shut down. But we had got really close on the Marriage Boot Camp show. So she was very torn between the Natalie that she was with every day and hanging out, and then the very light comments I made about her plastic surgery, like, threw our whole relationship out the window. So then a year goes by, and we're on another show together, and she just, like, was really upset and had never really spoken to me after she saw my comment I made. So that was the time she had to take to get it off her chest and make a big ordeal and, you know, do what Heidi does best and get mad at me for something that was very, very honestly not deliberately to hurt her or to be mean. I just made a light comment about it. Wasn't a joking comment. It was just like, whoa, Heidi's had a lot of work done since I saw her, you know, before on the hills or whatever. And I didn't even know it would be something so bad, because I saw a lot of things in the tabloids about her having a lot of surgeries, and I'm just the one who always says something that is going to stir the pot, make someone mad. I'm the one, but, you know, everyone else at home that's watching is probably thinking the same thing I'm saying.
Right. And see, I'm glad you gave the history and the background behind that, because I actually watched you both on a marriage boot camp, but I didn't realize that.
And we were really close. After the show. Heidi and I and my husband Jacob and her husband Spencer, we did a lot of things together off the show. We went out in Hollywood, we went to dinners, we spent a weekend at their house in Santa Barbara. We did a lot of stuff with them. So then once the show aired, she was upset because of that one little comment I made. So what I learned about Heidi, and then going into the marriage boot camp show and leaving there, and then going now into the mother-daughter show, you know, she's a little more fragile than myself. You know, I don't let things that people say about me or do to me affect me as much as maybe other people. And I'm a little more hard, you know, a little more cold, I guess. And Heidi's very fragile. And, you know, she's a friendship that I have to be very careful with, in the sense of what I say and I do around her, because she's, you know, she's been through a lot in the years of her reality TV, and she's lost a lot of friends. She's had a lot of relationships that have been, you know, broken from the comments about her surgeries and the mean things that, you know, Lauren, Conrad, and all those girls have done to her. So I have to just be very fragile with Heidi. That's one thing I learned.
And for you, Karen, you know, your first day on the set, all of a sudden your daughter is getting into it with Heidi. What was it like for you as a mother watching that?
It was a little shocking, to be honest. I thought, you know, as we all kept coming to the house and meeting each other, that it was going to be open arms and we were all going to be, you know, hugging each other and getting along. So when that happened, I was a little thrown off, and I think I kind of I was trying to tell Natalie, come on, let's just go sit down, leave her alone, let her go do her thing. And, you know, they just had to figure it out between the both of them for a while. And then they did. Things got better.
So for the both of you, how was this experiment for you? Were you able to, like, mend some things? And because I know, Natalie, you were, you know, hurt because your mother wasn't there for you because she was tending to her mom. And Karen, it appears that was a hard struggle because you got your mother and your daughter, the two most important women in your life, you know, and they both need you. And if it feels like you were kind of caught in the middle, were you able to heal those hurts, Natalie? For your mom not being there?
You know, honestly, it was, you know, I still am learning. Like, I'm a little selfish still. You know, I don't tend to think the whole world revolves around me, but I do tend to want the people the closest to me to be, like, you know, with me. And so it was very hard for me the last 7 years with, you know, I lived in LA for a long time. I traveled a lot. I'm always in and out of different countries, doing TV stuff, filming stuff, and I just always kind of wanted my mom to be, I don't know, I wouldn't say a momager, but just very more hands-on. In the beginning, when I first got on TV, I wanted her to be that momager, handle these bookings, handle my appearances, and, you know, at the same time, my grandma was very ill and very sick, and my mom was taking care of her full time. So, you know, I had to really, like, open up my eyes, and I guess being in that house and hearing it come from Dr. Debbie, all of the exercises over and over and over, the things we did there really not only showed me, okay, it's not all about you, it was more about, grandma at the time, but it also kind of showed me that I am a little bit selfish. I have selfish tendencies. Like, I really still want my family. I want my brother to be involved in what I'm doing. I want my mom, but everyone else has a life of their own too, and I tend to think that, well, look what I'm doing, and I'm doing so great over here. Everyone should be involved with what I'm doing. And that's not, logically, that's not the way the world works. So, I had to kind of figure that out and hear it over and over again from, Dr. Debbie, and just being there for those 8 weeks on the show. I mean, it was very clear that, I still have selfish ways when it comes to my family and me, wanting everyone to be around with me. And I mean, it's not a bad selfish, but at the same time, everyone has their own life.
And I guess in entertainment, that's kind of how it is. You really want the people that are closest to you to be around you. You know what I mean? Because those are the people that you trust. So it is kind of a...
Yeah, and that really was it. Yeah.
Because, I trust you. Right. And I see where you're coming from with that, because you trust your brother, you trust your mother. You know what I mean? There's people out there, it's like, I can trust you, but it's no one like your mom or your brother, your sisters, your aunts. That close.
For a while, they had, for the first 2 years, I had my brother with me. He was on the road with me. He was handling all my bookings. He was handling all my stuff. Because at one point I literally was living out of a suitcase. I was making appearances 4 days out of the week in different states, out of the country. I was literally everywhere. And my mom sent my brother down to be with me, and he was working with me. And then, he went on to get, married, have his child, have a baby, and that stopped. And I was like, wait a minute, my brother can't not be here right now. So just everybody had their own things going on as well. Even though my situation was very a prime thing in our family, it just didn't feel great to not have everybody with me at all times. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I wanted my mom to come to LA more often. She was, she barely came down. She was very hands-on with my grandma. My grandma was, sick with Alzheimer's and dementia. And so it was really hard. I just had not random people, but my manager was just a manager. He wasn't a family member. He was, I had an assistant who was just an assistant, my security guard. I mean, these people are very dear to me now. They've been working with me for 7 years, and they're the same people. But at the end of the day, it's it couldn't have been any better than my brother, my mom, everybody being on board with me.
Right, right. And for you, Karen, what did you get out of your experiment?
I thank Dr. Debbie with open arms and an open heart, because, I was a single mom, and I did spend, 24/7 with my kids at all times until they went off to college. And, mother-daughters have their fights, and their, wanting to do things their own way. When you've got two strong-headed women and, living in the same house, you kind of stay clear of each other. And I think along the line, Natalie kind of didn't get to know a certain part of me, which she learned when we were going through the therapy. And, I think that really did open up her eyes, and it made me realize that, maybe I should have done some things a little bit differently, but in the long run, it's really helped our relationship. And, there's things that we never used to talk about that we do talk about now. And we're a work in progress still, but it's, gotten a little bit, we've always been close. So, it's just, there were certain things at certain times, and, that just helped us work things out a little bit more.
You know, this show is such a great show because you have so many mothers and daughters who have gone through so many things and are going through so many things. I said, you know, I have a 16-year-old. Heck, me and her need to be on this show because I'm going to tell you, we've gone through some things. And so when I first heard the announcement for this show, I said, oh, we have to watch this show. Although the women on the show are adults, but, you know, some things stem back from when they were, you know, teenagers or some things that they were dealing with, you know, at a younger age.
There's Josie
Yes.
Canseco, with Jessica Canseco. She's 18.
Mm-hmm.
So she might think, and as you watch the show, it starts becoming more and more apparent that, you know, this 18-year-old thinks she's 25. And they start really addressing some stuff, because originally I thought everyone in the house was 21 and older. And then, boom, we find out Jessica's daughter, Josie, is 18. And she's a teenager. And the way, you know, so there's a lot of relatable mothers and daughters in this situation, even though they're calling it the celebrity edition. If celebrities or not, we're all just people. Mm-hmm. And it's a relatable show. And Josie Canseco might be living in Hollywood and running around with Justin Bieber and all these people. She's still an 18-year-old. And, you know, these 16, 17, and 18-year-olds that are watching the show, because this is not the first time we've heard this. We just heard a guy tell us that he's watching it with his daughter, and she's 16 as well. And, you know, Josie's that age group that I think the 16-year-olds that are watching with their mom and dads and stuff, she's very relatable in that sense. She's, you know, thinks she's 25 and wants to do this and how come and why, and I'm not going to go to college. And there's a lot of stuff there that I think, you know, is going to be good for all the younger people watching as well.
There's so many issues in, you know, between all of us that it's good for mother-daughters to really watch.
Yeah, it's going to play out. Every episode is going to be more intense and more communication. We touch on communication. We touch on, you know, just there's so many things we touch on that it helps. It shows how bad we are at whatever the exercise is. And then they come back and they, you know, they say how we can do better, which is good.
It's a good problem solving
exactly,
tools, which is great. Well, I want to thank you both for coming on the show, Karen and Natalie.
So
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And I want to remind the audience to make sure that you tune in tonight, 10 p.m. on Lifetime. If you have DirecTV like me, it's 7 p.m. Thank God. But again, we have Natalie Nunn and her mother, Miss Karen Nunn. Make sure you tune in tonight to the Mother-Daughter Experiment Celebrity Edition on Lifetime, 10 p.m. Thank you both so much.
Thank you so much.
Lady Charmaine.